Dubey sir, now you can start video.
Okay. So I'm going to screen a video of a question answer session in Sanan, where a gentleman asked Krishnaji, can you help me to apprehend the sacred? So just give me a minute, I'll share the screen. Can you see the screen now?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I have studied, been to Asia, discussed with people there. I have tried to penetrate beyond the superficiality of religions into something I feel in my bones, though I'm not logical man, something profoundly mysterious and sacred. And yet I don't seem to apprehend. Can you help? I have studied, been to Asia, and discussed with people there. It all depends with whom you have discussed. I have tried to penetrate beyond the superficialities of religion into something I feel in my bones, though I'm a logical man, something profoundly mysterious and sacred. And yet I don't seem to apprehend. Can you help? Shall we go on with this question? You're not tired? One wonders why you go to Asia at all, except for trade. Perhaps people who go there for religious purposes are also trading. You give me something, I'll give you something. One questions, why go to the East at all? Is truth there and not here? Is truth to be found through people, through a guru, through a path, through a system, through a prophet, through a savior? Or truth has no path? There's a marvelous story in India of a boy who leaves home in search of truth. He goes to various teachers, various parts of the country, walking endlessly. Every teacher asserting something or other. And after many years, as an old man, he comes back to his house after searching, asking, meditating, taking certain postures, breathing rightly, going, fasting, no sex, all. At the end of time, he comes home to his old house. As he opens the door, there it is. The truth is just there. Yes. You might say, it wouldn't have been there if he had not wandered all over the place. That's a cunning remark. But you miss the beauty of that story if you don't see that truth is not to be sought after. Truth is not something time will help us to come to this. Time will not. So the question is, I'm a logical man. Something profoundly mysterious and sacred I feel exists. I cannot apprehend it. I can understand it. I can logically see it. But I cannot have it in my heart, in my mind, in my eyes, in my smile. The person says, help. If one may point out something, don't ask for help from anyone. Because the whole history of man is in you. The whole travail, the mystery, if there is a mystery, is everything man has struggled, sought, found, denied, illusion. All that is part of your consciousness. When you are asking for help, forgive me if I point this out most respectfully, not cynically. If you ask for help, you're asking something from outside, from another. How do you know the other has that quality of truth? Unless you have it, you will never know it, whether he has it or not. So first thing is, please, I'm saying this with great affection, care. Please don't ask for help. Then if you do, the priests, the gurus, the interpreters, all of them pour on you. And you are smothered. Whereas if you look at the problem is this. Man, throughout the ages has sought something sacred. Something that is not corrupted by time, by slow time, by all the travails of thought. He sought it. Longed for, sacrificed, tortured himself physically, fasted for weeks. And he has not found. So somebody comes along that says, I'll show it to you, I'll help you. Then you are lost. Whereas, to say, is there something sacred? Mystery only exists because it's mysterious. But if you uncover it, it's no longer a mystery. Truth isn't a mystery. It's something far beyond all concept of mystery. So, is it possible for a man? Listen to the question first. For a man who has studied a great deal, various aspects of religion, of the East and the West, accumulated a great deal of knowledge, both in the scientific world, the left and the right, the Marx and the etc. So read all that. There are lots of people who have read that. And their brains are crowded. I used to know an author, and he used to say to me, that I know all the Asiatic religious thought, the Christians thought, the cloud of the unknowing, the various mystics of Europe. And so my brain is full of other people's knowledge. And can I ever experience something totally original? You understand? The cry of such a human being. The cry of such a human being who is desperately wanting something, not wanting, seeing something, this is not enough. And then what do? They take drugs, hoping to experience that something original. It is not a chemical product that is going to produce that originality. So, what is one to do? What am I to do? I'm asking as though an outsider. I'm asking, what am I to do? Knowing I'm a serious man. I have humor, I can laugh, I can shed tears, but I'm a serious man. And I've superficially inquire into all the aspects of religion. And I recognize their superficiality. Therefore, I've discarded whether the superficiality of the gurus, the churches, the temples, the mosques, all the preachers in the world. Because I've seen, if I see one actual state of religious aspect of superficiality, I've seen the whole lot. So I don't have to go through them all. So what am I to do? Is there anything to be done? Who is the doer? And what is it that's being done? You follow this? Please follow this step by step if you are interested. If you can discard all your superficiality with your garlands, pictures, all that nonsense. If you can discard all that and stand alone, because one has to be alone. The word alone means all one. Solitude is one thing, all alone is one. Solitude has in it the quality of loneliness. You can walk alone in the forest and be alone. Or you can walk in the forest feeling that you are in solitude. That feeling is totally different from the feeling you are alone. Now, what am I? I am meditating. I follow different systems, slightly. And I recognize that their superficiality. I must tell you another story, if you don't mind. We were speaking in Bombay. Enormous crowd and so on. And the next day, a man came to see the speaker. He was an old man, white hair, white beard. He told me the following story. He was one of the important judges in India, an avocat, a judge, highly placed, family, children, respected, all that stuff. And one morning he said to himself, I pass judgment over others, criminals, swindlers, robbers, business robbers, political robbers, and so on. I pass judgment, but I don't know what truth is. So how can I pass judgment if I don't know what truth is? This man who came to see me, to see the speaker, was telling us. And so he withdrew. It's one of the old traditions in India, highly regarded, respected. He withdrew from his family, went into the forest to meditate. It is the tradition in India still that when a man renounces the world, he must be clothed, respected, fed, wherever he wanders in India. It is not an organized society of monks. He's alone. So we withdraw us into a forest. And he said, for 25 years, he's meditating. And after hearing the speaker the other evening, he said, I've come to see. I've come to say how deeply I've hypnotized myself. How in this hypnosis I've deceived myself. For a man who has meditated for 25 years, to acknowledge that he has deceived himself, you understand the nature of a human being that says that? Not just these neo-Marx. So, what am I? You have a certain amount of leisure, serious, not following anybody. Because if you follow anybody, that's the end. Please see all this I'm saying. That's the end of your search for your penetration into that which is eternal. You have to be completely like yourself. Not depend on anybody. Their initiations, their garlands, nobody. Otherwise, you cannot be like yourself. So, I have realized I must be like myself. I don't follow. I don't do any worship, any ritual. And yet that which is eternal is eluding. I mean, it is not in my breath, in my eyes, in my heart. So what am I to do? First of all, can the brain be free of the center which is me? You understand what? Can my brain be free of myself, the self? Whether that self is super self, ultra super, is still the self. Then is there total dissipation of selfishness, to put it very simply. Selfishness, the self-center, is very cunning. It can think it is escaped from all selfishness, from all concern about its own entity, its own becoming, and yet very subtly, deeply is putting out a tentacle. You understand all this? So one has to discover for oneself whether there can be complete and total freedom from all selfishness. It is all self-centered activity. Right? That is meditation. To find out a way of living in this world without being self-centered, egotistic activity, egocentric movement. If there is a shadow of that, a movement of that, then you are lost. So one has to be tremendously aware of every movement of thought. That's very easy. Don't complicate. When you are angry, at the moment you do not know, there is just that feeling. But when you examine it, you can observe the arising of, right? The arising of greed, the arising of envy, the arising of ambition, aggression, as it arises to watch. Not at the end of it. As it is arising, as you watch it, it withers away. You understand? So you can be aware. So the brain can be aware of the rising of a thought. The awareness of rising of thought is attention. Not to smother it, destroy it, put it away, but just the feeling that is, don't you know, the feeling of hunger when it arises? Obviously you do. Or your sexual feeling, or any kind, as it arises, to be completely aware. So, the awareness, the attention of the movement of the me, my desire, my ambition, my egotistic pursuit. When one is aware, as it arises, it withers away. That is absolutely necessary. So that there is not a particle less shadow of this me. Because the me is separate. I went into it. So that's the first thing I have to understand. Not control of my body, special breathing, yoga, all this. You wash your hands of all those. Then you have a brain that's not harsh, right? You understand? That's not acting partially, but whole. I do not know if we have gone into this, which I've spoken so long. I must be brief. We pointed out the other day that we are functioning not with all our senses, but only partially. The partiality, the narrowness emphasizes the self. Of course, I'm not going to go into in detail. You can see it for yourself. But when you observe the mountain, the trees, the rivers, the blue sky, the person whom you love or whatever it is, with all your senses, there is no self. There is no me that is feeling all of it. So that means a brain that is not functioning as a dentist, as a scholar, as a laborer, as a super astronomer, but functioning the whole of your brain, which means that can only take place when the brain is completely quiet. So no shadow of self and absolute silence of the mind, quiet. Not, I would like to use the word emptiness. That gives a wrong meaning. Most people's brains are empty anyhow. But to have a brain that is not occupied with anything, including God, meditation, with nothing. Only then the brain is silent, full of vitality. And that brain has a great sense of love, compassion, which is intense.
Yes, Dinesh ji.
Sir, after Harshad bhai.
Okay. Yes, Harshad bhai.
Thank you, Dubey ji. Here the question asks, can you help me to apprehend the sacred? I did not know the word apprehend, so I looked in the dictionary and it says apprehend means to catch and possess. That means that one can really possess sacred, which is very, very doesn't seem true at all, because this sacred, it comes to some few people when they are not expecting it, and when they have gone very, very deep within themselves and cleaned up their mind or heart, and then unexpectedly this sacredness comes as it used to come in the life of Krishnamurti, because he himself did not know when it was coming. So, and initially, and also the word me. And so Krishnaji says, as long as this sense of me or self, it exists, sacred cannot come, because that me or the self is very partial, and sacred is something very, very open, vast feeling. Not even feeling, it is something which we have used the word sacred. Krishnaji uses the word sacred. Some people uses some other word like supramental consciousness or God or intelligence or compassion. So these are all the words. Uh, Krishnaji says that nobody can help us. We have to rely on our own understanding, go very, very deep within ourselves, see every trick which the mind plays, and come in direct touch with our thoughts and feelings. And then there may be, even when the anger comes, to see it arising, or even without anger, any thought or feeling coming, to be in touch with what is, that kind of extremely alert awareness is necessary. And that is what Krishnaji's teachings are about, this awareness, which is a effortless awareness and spontaneous from moment to moment of what is happening, and not making an effort to understand, to analyze, to do something, interfere, but to watch clearly whatever thoughts and feelings and moving with it. And then there is a silence, and something may happen, some sudden light may come, and so on. Different people go through different experiences and they use different words, but many, many people have written about it and they have described it. Krishnaji also uses the word like sacred or benediction or presence or otherness. There are several words Krishnaji has invented uh, to express what he was feeling from time to time. And then it is not something which we can demand and can catch it and keep it with us. It may happen once in a while. Even in the life of Krishnamurti, it happens once in a while when you are not expecting. Okay, I have finished. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Harshad Bhai. Yes, Dinesh ji.
Are you able to hear me, sir?
Yeah.
The essence of today's talk is, if you can be free of your ego center, you can apprehend the sacred. That's what JK says. Here he has used the word, can brain be free of ego? Can the brain be free of ego? Selfishness, self-centered activities, etc. Now, Harshad sir has already said the dictionary meaning of apprehend. But apprehend also means perfect understanding or fully grasped. And the sacred is related to God or related to the other dimension, you can say, which is beyond time and all that. Now, what are my views? My views are if one can understand everything in world is in a way sacred. Everything in this world is in a way sacred. As the whole world is emerged or backed by the timeless ultimate or a deeper dimension. In tradition, they say Sarva Khalvid Brahma. Everything is made by the God only, and nothing is beyond God. However, world is made up of positive and negative energies or vibrations, which we call duality. To human beings, after a level, the negative energies create problems. So he becomes seeker of the ultimate dimension, and because of negative experiences of duality, he only calls the ultimate dimension a second. So when he experiences negativity in the dual world, he goes for the a dimension, or he seeks the dimension which is ultimate or sacred. He calls it sacred. Now, to apprehend this sacred dimensions of non-duality, JK is suggesting first to negate all the negative aspects of creation, and then even to the positive aspects later on, so that what remains is the non-dual dimension, or such a free brain which is a way silent and will be able to apprehend it. He also says that according to him, there is no path to it. Go for self-knowing and see with awareness and attention the occupation of the mind and brain by past conditionings and thoughts. So if the brain is free from the clouds of the past conditioning, then it can see clearly and find a sacred dimension which is already there. It is not. It doesn't have to come from somewhere. It is already there. Here also, it is interesting that he has even denied the word emptiness this time of brain or mind, but used word non-occupied mind. So this is very interesting. Now, I would also like to say my further feeling or views, that one should also focus on the energy movements. Say in meditation, one can observe the mood swings. When a particular mood is there, how one feels about it. After the mood changes, what happens? Here in today's message, JK has mentioned feeling of aloneness. When we say feeling of aloneness, now when one is feeling aloneness, means it is a feeling, that means it is means experiencing. When you say there is a feeling, it definitely means that you are experiencing, and aloneness means no other is there. So what could be that state where without there is no separation between observer and observed? So how such feeling can exist without the separation of observer and observed? What is the state of mind in that case? This we have to see. He has clearly differentiated feeling of solitude, means I is experiencing loneliness. So I think we should also try to understand this energy phenomena, so that we can get further clarity. Right now, I want to submit this much only. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Prasad Garu. Unmute yourself. Yeah.
Sir, this video makes 2 points. Firstly, that you can't turn to anybody to apprehend the sacred, to help you to apprehend the sacred. That is a process which you have to undergo yourself. And it is the same statement as he made in 29. that truth is a pathless land. That is the first part of the video. Then the second part is summarized well by Mr. Waghmare. That is, it is the ego or self or center, whatever you call it, that comes in the way. And you have to understand its workings. And he makes the statement, it is a very subtle thing. And that is what we do not really understand, how subtle it is. Because everybody thinks that he is not that he is free of self. Everybody thinks. A politician, he thinks he is serving the nation, that he is selfless. An artist thinks that he is adding to the artistic wealth of the country, and that he is selfless. A cinema actor, he thinks he is contributing to the entertainment and to the sanity of the people. Like that, everybody finds a kind of rationalization. He thinks he is doing something really wonderful. But many times, we may not even deserve our 3 square meals per day. For example, if I am if I am waiting for a bus, if I break the queue, that is selfishness. If you are very assertive in your views, yes, again you are being self-centered. When in the domestic sphere also, it comes into play. The self comes into play. Like when you think that your children must be in some model, when you impose your models on your children, that is also a part of it. Like that, there are so many occasions when the self gets exhibited, but we don't realize ourselves. It is evident for the other people. I can give one example, which I will. If I raise my hand too fast, it means I am being motivated by that selfish urge. Like that. So many times, so many examples. So that is what we have to consider and appreciate. And then, of course, there are further ramifications like the observer and the observed and all that. When you observe something, you have to observe without you have to see that there is no observer goading you. Like that. One thing, of course, is very clear that the so-called the tamasha or the circus of the tradition in the temples and churches and all that, that tamasha is ruled out. That is the basic thing. And after that, all these sensitive things come up for consideration. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, Pradeep ji. Unmute yourself.
My voice is little husky today for the last so many days. Anyway, Dinesh raised 2-3 very important points today. He said everything is sacred. Yes. Upanishad said so. Ishavasyam idam sarvam. Ishavasya Upanishad. Then why the man suffers? If this thing is understood properly by anyone, then no suffering, absolutely no suffering. Because truth is everywhere. Truth is a pathless land. JK has already given that special statement. And he's questioning even apprehend. He said, somehow Dinesh said, it can be apprehended if the ego is not there. It can never, truth can never be apprehended. You have already, you know it. It's grasping, catching, you see, holding. So it can never be, fortunately, it cannot be apprehended and made a prison out of it. So it's not that one can apprehend once he is egoless. That also is an imagination. When I am talking, I am imagining that egolessness, selflessness, all that I am imagining. So when another thing is aloneness was talked about, aloneness is all one. Whether the state of consciousness when one feels this, all is one, is it not a feeling? Even Dinesh raised this point. Is it not a feeling? How do you have a faith in all is one? How to have that faith once for all? It is finished. All is one. Either you are included in that. So one only. So this is very, for me, it was difficult to grasp how we arrived at this all one. Of course, other things, total freedom from the self-centered activities, everything is known, and that he calls as meditation. Ultimately, awareness, one has to be aware. For this awareness in each one of us, we can be aware. And we know that when suddenly anger is arising in me, a different thought comes in me disturbing, definitely all of us can feel it. That is what awareness is all about. And that is the power of awareness and the beauty of awareness, and a natural gift given to all of us. So, a rising of thought as it arises, movement of me. So definitely this truth is not bound to time and space, because these things are important to the self. We don't know beyond certain things. Of course, we can definitely feel the way we breathe, the way we enjoy this whole cosmos around me, how we feel stuffy, how we feel bad when these things are not proper, as you see in pollution levels are going in. And that. Through this, one can feel how dependent he is on this whole cosmos available to us, and we don't bother about it, we don't care about this. So these are some of the points. Experiencing, and then experiencing something original. Something experiencing. Here, fortunately, he is using the word experiencing, which otherwise is not given that much importance, experience, because self will experience. And something original also is related to the my past, my memory, whatever it is, something, how do I know that something original? Maybe I have not seen it earlier, I have not felt these things, but something original. And when he's talking about eternity, you see, so of course things are clear, and yet we all live a life where suffering has a place, where everything has a place, and we understand these words very clearly, whether they are from Upanishad, whether they are from Buddha, JK, or whatever. Exactly, when I was reading, I was seeing this video, I was reminded of one Roman Catholic mystic, De Mallo, Anthony De Mallo. He was a Roman, or they are at the same time. Um, so if you see his book, Awareness, you will find all that has been said in different language. He has simplified in a different way. He was a Jesuit in India, in Pune. So the truth is available to all of us. It depends what words click to me, or when do I feel that what originality or whatever, that freshness or the newness. Of course, these are all experiences, but word-wise, I know I can always say everything is sacred, definitely, and it is. But then there should never be a suffering. How do we forget that when we live our 24 hours life, daily, different life? So words, that is what Harshad Ji talks about, intellectual conceptions, conceptuality. He said mystery not as a concept of mystery. So we are through words, when we get, these are concepts, or intellectually you can see it. The moment we are free from that, when he talks about openness, open to be all one, but still, whether it's an experience or no experience, or you don't bother about the experience. One never bothers whether it is experience or not, but free from conflicts. I'm imagining all this. I'm imagining through these words and through these readings. So that's all, friends. This is all I have to say. Thank you very much, giving me a lot of time.
Thank you. Yes, Dinesh.
First of all, whatever Verma ji said, when we say mystery, my views are everything is mystery. Our existence is mystery, our life is mystery, we ourselves are mystery. Basically, every action, basically, if you see, then it is a mystery. But we take it granted. We take it granted ourselves, we take it granted the whole life as such, and move from further to that. We don't focus on the basic mystery of the life. This is number one. Number two, Verma ji was saying about truth. Basically, truth is unknowable. JK has mentioned somewhere that it is not only unknown, but it is unknowable. Even he has used the word unknowable. So we were not talking about the truth. We were talking about the aloneness. So there is a difference. Aloneness, experiencing of aloneness. Because JK has also said that it is experiencing. But in aloneness, there is no other. So what that could be the state? That was the discussion. Now, he has interestingly used word brain and not mind this time. Brain should be the free of all the occupation. Why not mind? My views are, mind is always in the moment or no moment. There is only it swings, or it swings between a moment and no moment. Whereas brain can be free from the occupation. These are my views, because it's a hardware basically. And mind is As soon as the mind goes into movement, there will be division, there will be emergence of I and all that. Even I is not a problem, but I am, this is me. Me is a problem. Or further, that we have also discussed many times, that me and myself and all your possessions and all that and occupations, those are the problems. Now you were saying that it could be a theory. We are conceptually we are talking about there is no this aloneness cannot be there, or this we are talking as a theory. But we ourselves observe that when we were when we are free of any chattering of mind, sometimes this happens that chattering is very less or negligible. At that time we feel very good. Why do we feel good? Because at that time the energy was labeling us experience as good, and when we go in chattering we feel disturbed, our harmony is disturbed and all that. So suppose if there is no occupation, many times this happens on Sunday or something, you go out and you are just free. Then at that time you can say if this state persists, there is a possibility that there can be a state of aloneness. So this is what I want to say. And why do we feel negative or disturbed? Because the energy is transformed into negative vibrations, and which and it is depleted. So that's what he is saying, that your whatever conflict is there, or whatever your anger is there, or greed is there, you have to tackle that. Thank you.
Verma sir, you want to respond to what Dinesh Waghmare has said, or you want to say something else? Otherwise, it becomes a one-to-one dialogue. Unmute yourself. Unmute.
It's little bit about what he said, because in the last sentence he said, suppose. And suppose word is very interesting. It means it's a part of your imagination and theory. Absolutely pure theory. So that is what I wanted to say. That suppose, why we have to suppose? This is what I feel, and that's why I raised my hand. Not as a reaction, but this is for my understanding. Why do we suppose? You see?
Okay, thank you. Yes, Mr. Ravi Kaushal.
Yes, sir. Am I audible, sir?
Yes, yes, you are.
Yes, sir. This statement, actually, I'm just listening much and not seeing the, the the pattern where the thought is intervening. So I have not much to say now, but one thing that Dinesh ji has said, that truth is unknowable, kind of thing. So actually, I don't have much. One statement of K is that truth is that experience which come into experience when experiencer is not there. So it is the experience, no doubt. But the experience without the experiencer, that is one thing. And you don't have to tackle, you don't have to, first you have to clarify all your grudges. If the mind is thinking in that term, it is already thinking in terms of time. Seeing is different than thinking to tackle the thing. You are using the thought. You are not seeing. The seeing is the only thing which I think which can bring more space and more awareness. So what is, I think, is rather more important, and I think last session I was not there, so I think it's on I think earnestness. So earnestness. So It's all what वैसे तो ये मुमुक्षत्व की बात है एक तरह से, लेकिन अभी क्या आदि शंकराचार्य has said कि भैया मुमुक्षत्व तो बहुत बात की बात है, उससे पहले तुम्हारे को अंतःकरण शुद्ध करना है। उससे पहले एक और वो बात है कि आपके अंदर ना साधन चतुष्टय संपन्न माइंड, वो जो कि ना the mind which sees the truth and drops the truth, which sees the false and drops the false at once, that quality of mind अगर वो है, then or then after that वो जो अंतःकरण शुद्धि is all kind of what K has said, all what seeing what is or is all same thing. So earnestness is one thing. Oh, not much to say, sir. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Yes, Prasad Garu. Unmute.
Sir, I think we have, in one part of the video, he has explained what all goes into the self. Ambition, anger, greed, power, all these things, they go into the making of ourselves. Actually, they go into the making of our identity. That is all the identity we have. Our anger, our ambition, this is our personality. This is one aspect, but he has also touched another aspect, which I think, at least I have omitted earlier. That is, he says, when all the senses are functioning, there is freedom. So, our brain functions only partially with one or two senses. But he says, whatever it may mean, he says the full extent, all the senses should function. And if you are going through a garden or forest or whatever, and with all your senses functioning, you hear the song, and at the same time you enjoy the color of a flower, like that. So, I think there is a great meaning in that, which possibly most of us miss. That is all senses functioning. Basically, with our jobs and with our 24/7 efforts to make a living, we lose that aspect of life. So we have no enjoyment. The mind becomes cribbed. It becomes confined. So we have to try to understand what he is meaning, what he is driving at. Actually, he has not spent much space on that, because elsewhere he speaks of that, functioning with all the senses. So it is not difficult for us to understand what could be the self. Everything goes into that. We have only that, actually. Only when that comes to a little end, then only there is a freedom or intelligence or whatever. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Yes, Harshad bhai.
Yeah. Initially in this video, Krishna ji asked the person, why you go to Asia? Is truth there and not here? It means that maybe truth is everywhere, but one has to be sensitive to feel it its presence. And the story which Krishnaji says that one man, he left his house in search for truth, and then when he came back to his own house, he saw it there. So something happened to that man. The truth was there in the room when he left, and something happened during that search. His brain became very, very sensitive. And then when he came back to his home, he saw it there. So maybe it is there, but one has to be well prepared, very sensitive, be really free from many ideas and thoughts. The whole thing is, the whole field of spirituality is subjective, and different people are talking in different words. Maybe they are all saying that there is something beyond our mind, which with thoughts and feelings. And Krishnaji somewhere also says that wherever there is good, evil also exists. And he was sensitive to both good and evil. And maybe there is something beyond both good and evil, which we can call truth or God or whatever word we use it. But we are using many words, and we can get caught into explanation. So the best thing is to be silent, be aware, watch our own mind, and see if there are any something bothering, to watch it clearly and be really free from it. That is what an experience of something otherness comes. It will come if it comes. We cannot invite it, but it may come if it comes. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, Pradeep ji.
I listened to Prasad Garu, that one has to be all the senses fully working. Senses belong to mind-body complex. You see, so even if full senses are working, what happens? Suppose all my senses are working. First thing is, senses are limited. We have limited senses. Our eyes, all the senses have a limitation, and certain things are available to other living creatures, not to us. For that matter, that limitedness is always there about the senses. Then fully means there is no conflict between the seeing and listening. Usually what happens when I am listening, I can't see. All the senses are limited to by the very nature. Suppose I listen, I cannot see. If I see, I cannot listen. You see, so all these things, touch. If there is a touch, immediately there is the whole consciousness goes to that touch. You see, so all these senses themselves make you little isolated that way. So when we talk of, because J.K. talked about it, when we talk of all the senses working fully in a particular moment, what happens? Of course, I'm discussing based on what has been said. All the senses working, including, and the partiality of brain. Partiality, if there is no attachment, if the attachments are not there, then the brain can be fully available. You see, that partiality goes with that. So we have to be, these are not something difficult. Everyone, once you understand the simplicity of what he's talking about, then we will not be surprised. What he said is absolutely available to all of us. All of us. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir.
Yes, Mr. Ravi Kaushal.
Yes, sir. So the Prasad sir was saying about this. We always use the word our or we. So that thing, I think, that is not the honest word actually. You cannot include everybody in that we. You cannot include me. How I think or how I don't think or how I react or what is all that. And then sir he says about all the senses and fully active. So I see that you know if you're all the senses, if if you give if you are listening fully, completely, if you're giving your whole energy to listening, even even through listening you can transform. So that is one thing. So and another sir is saying that while I'm listening I cannot see, yeah, while I'm seeing I cannot listen. That thing, I think, I see it like that, uh, that even through listening, you can perceive if you are communion with that person which is talking from wherever state of mind is talking. If you are listening and going together, and in that going together through listening, you can perceive what he's saying. What it is. That is, I think, which can transform the thing. And one that you see that Harshad is saying that all searching the truth and please do not speculate what is beyond. It has no meaning. And am I audible, sir? Hello? I think something is wrong. Am I audible?
Yes,
Am I
yes, you
audible,
are.
sir?
Yes, you are audible.
Okay. So please do not. I'm saying that do not speculate what truth is, what is beyond. It has no meaning actually. On the level of mind, see that you cannot, mind cannot find truth. Come to that point. Come to that point when the mind see that, when the actually mind actually see that all his efforts, all his japas, mantras, all his psychological seeing, whatever it can do, when it sees that it cannot go, it cannot find truth. What is the quality of that mind? That is the death. That is the psychological death. So I think before that, all talking about the truth and all that has no meaning. Thank you, sir.
I think when somebody says something, how do you say that he is speculating? That is not the right thing to say, because how do you know the state of his consciousness or the state of his mind? Don't judge it from the state we are. If somebody is saying that, he might be at a different stage. You can't, you can't say that. Yes, Dinesh ji, please be brief. Rajendran ji also wants to say something.
Yeah. First of all, when we say senses gives the data, and any occupation with any of the senses means deviation from the aloneness. So it is very clear, it is a division. So whether one sense is operating or full senses is operating, that's a division. It is very clear. Number two, one thing also we have to understand that actually who is giving us the cognizance? Is it the senses? Is it our eyes getting cognizance? Or something is there which is giving us cognizance? So when, first of all, you are using your intellect as instrument, then you may go for the awareness. But that energy, that substratum, which is giving us the cognizance, if we can focus on it, or it has come forefront and touches us, then I think the things are different. So this all speculation and all that, when we say, these all question doesn't arise of this, all these things. So this thing we have to see. That's what I want to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Mr. Rajendran.
Thank you, Dubeyji. Good evening, friends. I just want to add something to what our dear beloved Pradeep Verma ji was telling, something about the census. But when one census is in operation and other census we are not able to see or something, and that is true partially, but I appreciate that. But at the same time, the problem is not with these 5 sensors. When one is in operation, when we listen something, we are not able to see, and that is not the major problem here. So one more 6th sense is there. That is the major problem. That blocks all other things. While seeing the tree, we can, at the same time, we can listen the singing of the birds also. So that is not the problem. But when one census is operation, the other census also, other 4, that 5 census also, we can simultaneously feel or see or hear. But the problem is the 6th sense comes into operation. It blocks all other things. That is the major hurdle we are facing. The 6th sense, that is selfish, that apprehender, the apprehension. Thanks to Parekh, and he has given the definition for the apprehension. I was not knowing it previously. I had some vague idea of what is apprehension, but catching and possessing, that is itself is observer, that thought. So when the 6th sense is always in operation in our day-to-day life. So the very simple example is this watching the World Cup cricket and sixer by Kohli, and in a big screen, and the thought comes, I don't listen that Dolby sound or this 4K video also. So this problem is with that observer, that selfish entity who want to apprehend, grasp and hold it for himself. If he is able to grasp and hold it, the holiness, then he will say, this only for me. Only for me, he will not show it to others. So that fellow is a major problem. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. I think we'll have the last comment by Mr. Verma. Yes, please. Unmute yourself. Unmute. Yeah, you are unmuted again. Please unmute.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, okay now. Okay.
So, it's okay. What he means by using all the senses is, when we go, when we go for trekking, when we go to a jungle, unknown place, absolutely. When we go there as a simple receiver, my cup is empty. You see, so at that time, I feel the touch, temperature, everything I feel, and I listen to the music of these singing birds around, and the fragrance coming to me. At that time, full-blown things can be available to you, of course, based on my sensitivity to certain smells or certain touch or something like that, of course, is there. But otherwise, when I go there as a receiver, everything is available to me. All the things are available. So that may be the full sense, not full, I can never say use that word, but still, enough is, everything is available. I have no specific taste. I'm not going for that particular flower. I'm not going for a particular smell. So the receiver is there, and I'm just receiving all the senses. All the senses means again. So this is what he made, because he was a great. He used to visit nature he loved nature. Of course, when he describes about the shape of the leaf, then I will say that a particular sense is working more than the other senses. So this is what I feel. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I think there is a poetry by Kabir. I don't remember the words, but they sing it in the Rajghat assembly, where a milk woman is carrying her baby. She's also carrying milk on her head. She's talking to her neighbor. So all the senses can be operative at the same time. So it's not a speculation. So when Krishna says that when all the senses are in full function, then that's meditation. That's what is talking.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you all. Good night. Good night.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.